who's joining us now for an update. Mr. Tsenoli, a very good evening to you. Welcome to News at Prime. So we were told yesterday that we're expecting those engineers to gain access to the building once there had been a complete containment of the blaze. Has that been able to happen today?
No, I'm not able to give you the detail about that. But as I understood that the fire having been brought to some form of control and so on, it is likely soon to be able to let them have access. The firefighters will formally hand over the building for the people to come in for purposes of such investigations of those engineers would have to do. They need to get assurance first from the firefighters. I'm not certain that that has happened. From what I heard, that was yet to happen.
And the engineers, of course, will be assessing the extent of the structural damage. There'll also be a fire expert to look at what caused the fire. But as things stand, what is clear, at least from the process that's going on in court with a suspect now arrested and accused of being in the building, breaking in, charged with arson, and the rest of it, when do you as Parliament expect to receive a clear or an exact report on just how that breach of security occurred?
That one I don't think will be very soon because there are three different engineers who are present here. You mentioned maybe two. The structural, the electrical, and the third one, civil light. There are three different engineers who are present who will seek to determine that. And then there are forensic experts who must determine what the source of fire was, where it started, how it spread across, and so on. But also other police investigators and other investigators who will pool their information together. Usually, as I understand, there is a joint operating center created that brings in all the key stakeholders in an event of this nature to determine the extent to which any of the factors that may have been anticipated happened, and if not, what could have actually happened, and how long was that in the making, because that is what is going to need to happen. It cannot be a speedy process because of its nature and because of the extent to which the fire has damaged parts of the building. So scraping through that and determining the safest way, they still have to be, what's the word? Part of the reason why the structural people and electrical people must be in there first is to give that assurance that no, it is relatively safe to move here and here, but over there you are going to have to use other equipment because it may still be too dangerous to approach those parts of the building because of the damage that has just happened. It's too quick to be able to determine what else has been made more vulnerable and easy to collapse anytime, and so on. So it needed the engineers to come in to determine those kind of things. That's a delicate job because of the nature of what has happened.
I suppose what puts you in a bit of a pickle at this point is that Parliament has since Sunday been pleading with the public to avoid speculation, but in the absence of full facts and given the magnitude of what happened, people are likely to conjure up their own versions of what happened. What are you able to tell the people of South Africa tonight who are saying this looks more sinister than just the acts of a man who would have come from his shack in Khayelitsha or who lived on the streets outside Parliament, gaining access into the building and then setting it alight? And without taking you into commentary on the legal process, I mean, today our reporter Asanda Mbeche was out on the streets outside Cape Town speaking to the people who live on the streets, and they were telling her that there's no way one of their own could have gone into the building because it is so protected by police that it really appears improbable to them.
Well, you see, those are stories because the people who speak Swahili says haraka, haraka, haina baraka, rush, rush has no luck, meaning that we are better off going slowly so that we finally get verifiable evidence. Speculation, we must not, the problem with impatience is that it can give rise to dangerous theories being put across as explaining the phenomena that we are talking about. And only in a week or two's time, or sometimes even a day after making such pronouncements, evidence emerges that contradicts that. So we plead with the public to be understanding of why it is necessary not to hurry to pinpoint what the actual source is. Because if we do that, we may be proven wrong very soon, and it's not good. We do still insist that it is better that we work with verifiable information instead of with very superficially based assumptions about what happened. We really plead with the public to be patient. Patience does pay good results.
All right. What is your view, your take of comments that have been made, including by MPs in Parliament, who said that the burning of Parliament, this is a good fire? I think Mbuyiseni Ndlozi, I paraphrase, tweeted something to that effect, that this is good, and people are citing the apartheid links to the buildings of Parliament, saying it's a symbol of past oppression of black people in this country, and it's good that it burned down.
Well, I don't agree with that. It's a lack of understanding the value of not what they call deconstruction. These buildings, for example, were actually built with public resources. This is why we continue to use union buildings. This is why in many places, including Mangaung, where I am now, the buildings that the municipality is using are municipal structures built with residents, both labor and taxes. So it is inappropriate for anyone to suggest that because these structures were built in that past 36 years of the National Assembly, for example, and many more for the old assembly part and so on, but they remain public resources. We must build on them. They constitute a heritage that has been repurposed for use by democratic intentions and purposes. No, I disagree with that issue in the way in which others have put it across. We have to be mindful that our resources, once claimed for democratic purposes, are better than seeking to destroy them, especially because of the content, the substance of what we do as people inside is dramatically, almost revolutionary in content in certain extents. So it can't be correct that they must be handled as if they are apartheid, what do you call it, statues, for example. Even statues must be retained for posterity, and including for the present, to be able to understand the link with the past and the present. They must not be destroyed. They must be held as an indicator of what happened in the past or what should not happen in the future.
Deputy Speaker, let me ask you about something else. In the immediate aftermath of the fire on Sunday, MP Willie Madisha from Cope told our team that was outside Parliament that he was worried about the risk to the safety of MPs because this is the second fire in Parliament in a period of a year. When we spoke to someone else, a former MP now, in Musi Maimane, the former leader of the DA, he said when he arrived at Parliament, there was a feeling that Parliament and MPs were incredibly safe, that security checks appeared thorough. But he says over the years, there appeared to have been a relaxation, as it were, of the safety standards around that point. How solid is your plan to guarantee the safety of members of Parliament and staff, especially during this period where some events, for example, may have to take place off-site and going forward at Parliament?
Well, we are just as concerned for the safety of both members and staff and visitors from our own country and from elsewhere who are often present in the precincts to come and look at these buildings and their historical significance. Like I was saying earlier on, they come from all over the world for that purpose. And so there their safety and our safety, people who work in there, is a matter of common concern. And that to the extent that the prescripts of disaster management, of occupational safety, will be one of the key lessons that we have to learn about perhaps in what way we may not have fulfilled it appropriately. And what we will do is to work towards putting in place, learning from the past that others, maybe correctly, may have noticed as having constituted a slip from thorough safety precautions and preventative measures.
When does Parliament...
We must always be mindful of others whose intentions usually will be to do the damnedest to come and destroy what otherwise may be as full, in quotes, protected as possible. But we must do our best to assure MPs and staff members, 1,300, and many hundreds of people who come via Parliament every other day. We assure people that we will do our best to do that.
A quick final one, Mr. Tsenoli, because you and I are actually out of time. One of the issues some people have said would help MPs feel safer and staff feel safer at Parliament is the permanent appointment of a head of security at Parliament. That position has not been filled in that way since 2017. The Speaker has said you were dealing with it from as recently as December. When do you expect to actually fill it?
Well, the Speaker and the Chairperson will announce some of those decisions. There have been processes underway being considered, and as the Executive Committee, they will, as the Speaker and the Chairperson would have said, that they will be finalizing that soon. I'm not able to tell you those dates. They will determine how soon that will happen. But it's one of the other areas and layers of broad security, including management and administration, and the appropriateness of handling things at those levels that will also emerge as areas of concern and intervention. And that we will do.
Lechesa Tsenoli, Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, good to speak to you as always, sir. Thank you.